Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, would like to recognize and offer my sympathies to the people that are here today and the people who are at home who have lost loved ones in these crashes. I hope that we can get answers at this hearing and also in the future so that these issues, these mistakes will not happen again and cause future loss of life. Mr. Muilenburg, the Joint Authorities Technical Review notes that Boeing made several other changes to the 737 MAX that differ from the earlier models, such as structural changes that would accommodate the new engines that were planned on the plane and other advanced technologies. Senator Thune touched on this with the delegated authority. Was Boeing delegated authority over the certification of those changes as well?
Senator, I can't answer that question completely because, as you pointed out, there were a number of changes. Again, those are done and evaluated jointly with the FAA. You know, John, if you want to comment on any specifics there.
Yeah, there's approximately 92 certification plans associated with the MAX, which encompass all the different changes to the airplane. The FAA reviewed approximately 8 of those initially. And
are you looking into those certification processes as part of your review of the 737 MAX?
Senator, yes, we are. I asked my board to set up an independent review committee headed by Admiral Giambastiani about 5 months ago. And that committee did its work, provided inputs that we're acting on. And with the other authorities, we're continuing to take a hard look at that. And we look forward to taking action on those reports.
Okay. Also, the Joint Authorities Technical Review included a recommendation that states, quote, if any flight control surface is used in a novel manner, the FAA should be directly involved. This is based on the observation that the FAA was not completely unaware of MCAS, but because information and discussions about MCAS were so fragmented and they were delivered to disconnected groups within the process, it was difficult to recognize the impacts and the implications of this system. Do you agree that the communication between Boeing and the FAA is fragmented to the point that relevant information on MCAS was not provided to the agency? Is this what you were referring to when you talked about getting the balance right?
Senator, I think you raised some very good points there. I do think one of the areas we can improve, and we've seen it in the JATR report and others, is system-wide integration, cross-system integration amongst the different technical expertise areas, and improvements in documentation and communication. And again, we found some areas there where we could have, should have done better.
Do you think those steps will improve your communication with the FAA?
Senator, I do.
Do you think the FAA has a responsibility to also change its process to improve communication?
Senator, I believe the FAA does, but I wouldn't say that's only the FAA's responsibility. We at Boeing need to make some improvements in communication, and we own that, and we're committed to doing that.
Okay. The Boeing 737 airplanes are based on a type certificate. That was originally provided in 1967, I believe, and it has been amended to address the different 737 models since then. That technical review notes that, quote, some elements of the design and certification remain rooted in the original 1967 certification of the Boeing 737-100. Does Boeing or the FAA review the elements of the 737 that are based in the 1967 certification for continued safety when new models of the airplane are produced?
Senator, if I could ask John to field that question.
Senator, as you note, there's a single type certificate for the 737, but as the design has evolved with each new generation of airplanes, the safety standards on which the airplane is designed to have also evolved. Yes, there are some amendments that the design might reference back to an earlier amendment level, but those are likely changes that have not changed in the family of airplanes since the original design. An example might be some of the structural elements. However, we have stepped up in many areas voluntarily to later amendment levels to demonstrate that it still meets the latest standards in compliance.